The book of Deuteronomy stands as a pivotal point in the Hebrew Bible, serving as a bridge between the Israelites' journey from slavery in Egypt to their entry into the Promised Land. This book is not just a historical account, it is a profound narrative that encapsulates the essence of a people's faith, their struggles, and their hopes for the future. It is structured as a series of speeches delivered by Moses to the Israelites on the plains of Moab, just east of the Jordan River. These speeches are more than mere words. They are a heartfelt plea from a leader who has guided his people through the wilderness, a leader who knows he will not cross the Jordan with them. In essence, Deuteronomy is a farewell address, a final transmission of laws, wisdom, and exhortations from their leader before they embark on a new chapter in their history. Moses, standing on the cusp of the Promised Land, pours out his soul, reminding the Israelites of their covenant with God and the responsibilities that come with it. This book reiterates and expands upon the laws given at Mount Sinai, emphasizing covenant faithfulness, obedience to God, and the importance of preserving their cultural and religious identity. It is a call to remember their past, to honor their heritage, and to stay true to the commandments that define them as a people. Deuteronomy chapter 20, nestled within this larger narrative, focuses specifically on the laws governing warfare. These laws are not arbitrary rules, they are divinely inspired guidelines meant to ensure that even in the chaos of battle, the Israelites remain a people set apart. These regulations, delivered on the precipice of conquest, offer a glimpse into the moral and ethical framework that the Israelites were commanded to uphold even amidst the brutal realities of ancient warfare. They are a testament to the belief that morality should not be abandoned in the face of conflict. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast desert, the sun beating down as Moses, your leader, addresses you with a booming voice. The air is thick with anticipation and the weight of the moment is palpable. Moses speaks with a fervor that can only come from a deep connection with the divine. He speaks of the battles to come, the enemies you will face, and the importance of remaining faithful to your God, even as you fight for your survival. His words are not just commands, they are a source of strength and encouragement, a reminder that they are not alone in their struggles. This is the setting for Deuteronomy chapter 20, a chapter that speaks directly to the heart of what it means to be a people chosen by God, even in times of conflict. It is a call to rise above the brutality of war and to conduct themselves with honor and integrity. The laws outlined in Deuteronomy chapter 20 are not merely tactical guidelines for waging war. They are a reflection of a higher moral code, a divine mandate that calls for justice and compassion even in the most trying of circumstances. They are a reflection of a higher moral code, a reminder that even in the heat of battle, the Israelites were to be guided by principles of justice, compassion, and respect for life itself. These principles set them apart from other nations and defined their identity as God's chosen people. These laws, though ancient, continue to resonate with us today, challenging our understanding of war, peace, and the enduring struggle to balance power with morality. They remind us that the true measure of a people is not just in their victories, but in how they achieve them and the values they uphold in the process. Deuteronomy chapter 20 opens with a call to courage, assuring the Israelites that their God, Yahweh, is with them in battle. This divine assurance was meant to bolster their spirits and give them the confidence needed to face their enemies without fear. It outlines specific exemptions from military service, a fascinating window into the social and religious sensitivities of the time. These exemptions were not arbitrary, but were deeply rooted in the values and priorities of ancient Israelite society. Newly married men, for instance, were granted a year's reprieve to enjoy their wives and establish their families. This period allowed them to build a strong foundation for their household, which was considered essential for the stability of the community. This exemption highlights the value placed on family life and continuity even in times of conflict. The well-being of the family unit was seen as a cornerstone of society, and ensuring its stability was a priority. Another group exempt from military service were those who had built a new house, but had not yet dedicated it. The dedication of a new home was a significant event, symbolizing the establishment of a new household and the beginning of a new chapter in life. This exemption underscores the importance of home and property in Israelite society and acknowledges the emotional investment involved in establishing a new dwelling. The home was not just a physical structure, but a place of security and identity. Similarly, men who had planted vineyards but had not yet harvested their fruits were also exempt. The planting and harvesting of vineyards were long-term investments that required significant time and effort. This exemption underscores the significance of agriculture and the time-sensitive nature of agricultural practices. The success of these endeavors was crucial for the community's sustenance and economic stability. The cumulative effect of these exemptions is a recognition of the human cost of war. War was not just a matter of strategy and combat, but also involved significant personal sacrifices and emotional tolls. While the Israelites were commanded to fight for their land and their God, these exemptions demonstrate a sensitivity to the personal sacrifices involved and a desire to mitigate hardship whenever possible. The laws aim to balance the demands of warfare with the need to preserve the social fabric of the community. These exemptions also served a practical purpose. By allowing those with significant personal commitments to stay behind, the community ensured that its essential functions and responsibilities were maintained. Fear and anxiety could undermine the morale of an army. Soldiers preoccupied with concerns about their families or unfinished business at home would be less effective in battle. By exempting those with significant emotional attachments and responsibilities, the law sought to ensure that the soldiers who did go to war were fully committed and less likely to be distracted by worries back home. This focus was crucial for maintaining a strong and cohesive fighting force. This approach aimed to create a more focused and effective fighting force. By carefully selecting who would go to battle, the Israelites could maximize their chances of success while minimizing the potential for internal strife and distraction. In essence, these exemptions reflect a profound understanding of human nature and the complexities of life. They reveal a society that valued both its collective security and the well-being of its individual members, striving to achieve a delicate balance between the two. Before engaging in battle, the Israelites were commanded to offer terms of peace to their enemies. This directive was not merely a formality, but a genuine attempt to avoid bloodshed and destruction. The offer of peace was a critical step, reflecting a deep-seated belief in the value of human life and the importance of exhausting all non-violent options before resorting to conflict. This seemingly counterintuitive act, especially in the context of ancient warfare, underscores a key principle. War was to be a last resort, not the first option. The Israelites were taught that the path to peace was paved with dialogue and negotiation, not with the clashing of swords. This approach was revolutionary for its time, setting a precedent for future generations on the ethics of war. The Israelites were to exhaust all peaceful avenues before resorting to violence, reflecting a belief that bloodshed should be avoided whenever possible. This principle was embedded in their laws and traditions, emphasizing that the sanctity of life was paramount. The act of offering peace was a testament to their commitment to these values, even when faced with the threat of war. Even when battle was unavoidable, Deuteronomy chapter 20 lays out specific regulations for conducting warfare. These regulations were designed to ensure that the conduct of war remained within ethical boundaries, protecting both combatants and non-combatants. The rules provided a framework for maintaining humanity and compassion, even in the heat of battle. It prohibits the destruction of fruit-bearing trees, a rule rooted in both practical and ethical considerations. Fruit trees were a vital source of food and sustenance, and their destruction would have long-term consequences for the community. This rule highlighted the importance of preserving resources and ensuring the survival of future generations. Trees provided sustenance and were considered essential for the long-term well-being of a community. The preservation of fruit trees was not just about immediate survival, but also about maintaining the ecological balance and ensuring that the land could continue to support life. This rule demonstrated a forward-thinking approach to environmental stewardship. Destroying them would only inflict unnecessary hardship on the civilian population, a practice deemed unacceptable under the Israelite Code of Conduct. The protection of civilians and their means of sustenance was a priority, reflecting a compassionate approach to warfare. This rule served as a safeguard against the indiscriminate destruction that often accompanied war. The prohibition against destroying fruit trees also carries a deeper symbolic meaning. Trees, especially those bearing fruit, were seen as symbols of life and abundance. Their preservation was a reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of respecting the natural world. Trees, especially those bearing fruit, often represented life, abundance, and a natural order. The act of preserving them was a recognition of their role in sustaining life and providing for the community. This rule underscored the Israelites' reverence for nature and their understanding of its intrinsic value. Destroying them was akin to attacking the very source of life itself, an act that went against the Israelites' reverence for creation. This rule was a powerful statement about the sanctity of life and the need to protect and preserve it even in times of conflict. This rule served as a constant reminder that even in war there were limits to what was permissible, boundaries that protected the sanctity of life and the natural world. It was a call to maintain a sense of humanity and compassion, even in the midst of violence and chaos. The rules of engagement, outlined in Deuteronomy chapter 20, paint a picture of a society grappling with the complexities of war and striving to find a balance between the need for self-defense and the imperative to act with restraint and compassion. These rules were a testament to the Israelites' commitment to ethical conduct, even in the most challenging of circumstances. These laws, though formulated in a different time and context, offer timeless lessons on the importance of seeking peace, minimizing harm, and respecting the sanctity of life, even in the midst of conflict. They remind us that the principles of compassion and restraint are not just ideals, but practical guidelines that can shape our actions and decisions, even in the most difficult situations.